Hi, I'm Billy Mitchell with FedScoop TV. Today I'm here with Michael Darling, the Director of Enterprise Performance Management in the Office of Cybersecurity and Communication at DHS. How are you, Mike?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Doing great. It's great to have you here. We want to start off today talking a little bit about the IT infrastructure and its modernization. Specifically, how do you think agencies can accomplish that modernization while also ensuring that in the long term those investments are kind of cost savers?
So I think one of the most important things is to actually know what you have. You'd be surprised about, and that is not only from an infrastructure standpoint, boxes, routers, that sort of thing, but also from an organizational standpoint. I think oftentimes you see a lot of duplication across agencies, and it's hard to make decisions about what's investments, about the best investment decisions when you don't know what you actually have. So and so much becomes clear when you go through those actual inventories and you start to see the level of duplication, and so those investments need to make, you can start making investments that make sense from a mission standpoint. The other piece is looking at consolidated service provisions, service providers, whether it's full network service provision or services like email or that sort of thing. There's a lot of opportunities to look at consolidation there, increasing service while over the long term reducing costs.
Cybersecurity is a big topic lately with the big name breaches in recent times. Do you think there needs to be more attention paid to the cybersecurity budget, just because of what we've been seeing happening?
Oh, clearly. I think this is an area that we've been underinvesting in for 20 years. Most of the conversations up until recently have been about how to become much more efficient and cost effective, and that often leaves out the discussion of what's the cost of failure. So clearly, we need to make more investments in cybersecurity because it really is a mission enabler. And I think the places that we should really be focusing on are kind of the best practices. What are the attributes of strong networks? Whether that's good architecture, it's basic cyber hygiene, basic services like intrusion prevention and that type of thing. But really, you hear the sports analogy, brilliance in the basics. It's really the basic blocking and tackling of cybersecurity. I think we need to invest in information sharing. Anybody who owns a network has a small awareness of what's happening in their environment. Information sharing is really about connecting those defenses together. And building a broader awareness of what's actually happening in an environment so that you can actually make better informed risk management decisions, in that best practice area. And then we need to be cognizant that, no security system is perfect. And so we need to invest in incident response capabilities, basic things like not only the people and the tools to respond to an incident, but ensuring that our networks have the capability, to record activities that are going on, but also to mitigate, put in place before an incident happens some of the mitigation things that can make that incident less bad.
Thinking about the cloud, usually people talk about the efficiencies and the cost savings that come in the long term of the cloud, but what about the cloud as a force multiplier of cybersecurity?
I think there's an absolute great deal of opportunity in cloud as a security tool. That has to be balanced. Oftentimes you're dealing with a third party, and there's complexities that are injected into dealing with a third party and putting your data and your mission functionalities in the cloud. But clearly, one of the biggest problems that we have, and one of the biggest challenges I think we have in cybersecurity, are the complexity of our networks and what's on, what's off, and the ability to consolidate storage and services can really help us focus our security assets to where they can be most effective. If you're a large organization, one network maybe too too small or too few, but we clearly have more networks than we probably should from an optimal security standpoint in the federal government.
Okay, and then looking at big data, it's said to be a solver of many problems. But what about on the cybersecurity and lowering the cost of government side? How can big data be leveraged there?
Well, I think again, big data is kind of similar to information sharing. It helps us understand the environment that's not necessarily obvious. There's a lot of things that we know are bad things, but there's some things that we don't necessarily come out until you start looking at the massive amount, the mass amount of data that comes from network security provision. And I think it's really. That's where the opportunity is to start to understand what the most effective security practices are, what the most effective architectures are as we see things happening in our own environments, tie that to information sharing, being able to understand what's happening in other people's environments. And that's what it really enables is better informed risk management decisions, so that we, making investments on the front end, you actually understand what's actually effective in defending your networks. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, it may not be necessarily the big data piece, but that is a complement to understanding what the true cost of failure is, what the cost of a security breach is. So understanding what's effective, understanding what the costs are, what the downsides if bad things happen. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
That makes sense. Well, Mike, that's all I have for you today.
All right.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I'm Billy Mitchell of FedScoop TV. Thanks for watching.